take some of those points from you. But let's see what Na'Vi do choose to bring to bear as we're heading into map number 1. Celestial Husk is your map. Your casters are got Moxie and Ryan Central, and I will be watching quietly.
Thank you, Tetcha. And here comes the ban draft. And I think like both you and myself, Ryan, we're going to be looking very closely at this one to see if Peps are going to try and replicate what exactly Na'Vi fell afoul of to Shikigami. Yeah, there we go. Elsa instant ban on the side of both teams, which means that, yeah, Gambit save on the side of Peps and then likely mirrored on the side of Na'Vi. Unless they put more stock on the Vanguard Deadpool, which, ooh, turns out to be true.
I mean, that's what they were doing beforehand, right? And just making sure that they can get their own one-sided Deadpool for Trust Me, who can also just play the Venom. Well, actually, no, not really. We can see Trust Me probably play it. I say that because he was, like, streaming a lot of Deadpool Vanguard when he wasn't amazing. And now he's probably the best of the three. Definitely best of the three. But also, Rajaro has looked really good on this character as well. So one-sided Gambit is going to be allowed and allocated for Team Peps. They're going to be happy about it. That was what they were gunning for when they were playing up against Heretics. Weren't able to get it one-sided, I don't believe. A little bit later, actually, in the ban, they were able to get it one-sided both times against Heretics, but they didn't mind. Neither did Navi.
Well, I mean, Na'Vi are going to be able to potentially get one-sided Loki here, given that they ban it out and then follow up with a save onto the Mantis. So maybe Na'Vi, they saw the Mantis Ultron or the Mantis Atom, and yeah, they want to make a play for it themselves, which is why Peps instantly, for the first time in a very long time, they're deliberating. Is it the Loki to deny the team up with the Mantis, or is it the Ultron to deny the potential of a triple strategist line with a flyer pocket? Looks like it's the Loki that takes priority over the Ultron, so Na'Vi could potentially flex over to the same composition that cost them Central Park yesterday.
Actually going to try and go for the copy of themselves. Do they want to protect the Mantis themselves? The Jeff, Venom, symbiotic shenanigans. If they want to protect the Jeff, at least they have something more to work with the dive. You already have your Gambit. So you're almost forcing Na'Vi, if they don't want to deal with that team up, to get rid of the Venom themselves and Celestial Husk. Which, yeah, I mean, it also hits Trust Me.
It hits Trust Me, but I mean, the thing about dive is that, like, there's so many other things that can also dive. Is the problem. Angela, like, the Venom is gone, but you have the Angela, you've got the Captain America, you've got the Hulk as well, which it looks at the moment like Na'Vi are actually going to be going not for the Ultron Mantis, potentially jerky onto the Adam with that Mantis instead. And this being domination, having Soul Bond for the first fight, especially if Peps are going to be running those dives, to be able to absorb the incoming damage, establish yourself on point, and then literally just refuse to go down while still retaining that point control is going to give them a whole lot of point percentage.
Seeing the torch hovered over, but we saw it in Benim T'Challa earlier in the spawn rooms, and then it was changed over, so I don't want to get bait by it too much. Na'Vi,
don't buy into it until the spawn doors open is a good rule of thumb to play by.
Yeah, maybe it's just to try and traumatize Na'Vi that they see it and they're just like, what is this? I mean, you had level 1 Crooks saying that they never scrimmed against it before, which is, well, I feel like there's a lot of teams now that are like, we also maybe play it.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks actually, the drone. The drone's actually on. Yeah, spawn doors open, so they apply the Ultron drone to pink. Protoss is going to run the Mantis. Like, this literally is the composition that Na'Vi did run into difficulty with. But I mean, Jerky on the Adam is going to be able to apply a lot of pressure onto the Flyer alongside Terror on the Psylocke too. Like, this torch, very vulnerable.
Trying to see if Pink can find these picks, looking for Rajaro that's trying to flip around and sort of pull the attention of Peps into various directions. The flight of the Valkyries for Team Peps is trying to get over onto Na'Vi in this objective, but they're also running triple strategist and also still trying to commit to the Adam. Jerky's not being able to build up that much ult charge. He took a good brunt of damage, but also applied it back as we see the Living Tribunal skin actually in play as well. Jerky is the golden child. He seems to be able to play anything, and for the golden colors of Na'Vi, we still haven't really been able to get an elimination, now starting to trade on either side.
Oh, they got the mag. IMLK falls, which means that Peps' anchor position on that point has now vanished alongside it. Terra's able to get into the backline, takes out the Gambit. Now looks to turn their attention onto the Mantis as well. And finally, they can overwhelm Peps while allowing that first cap to go their way. This is really good as well for them because, like, now you actually get to apply that pressure onto both the Ultron and the Torch before they can get into a position of cover around the point itself. So both Jerky with the just spam pressure on the Adam as well as Terra getting to set up in any position for Peps to have to clear out first before they can commit to this walk is going to be a problem for this team to have to deal with.
I've got a Rage of Ultron built up rather slowly, you got to say, for Team Peps, considering it is 25% on the board already. Level 1 Crook has got the Soul Resurgence if they want to go more offensively. Trust me, using up the Ban Hammer before they're able to actually play it. That's a great dive for Frankie Boxing. He's been able to take out 3 charging through. He's absolutely carved his way through Navi in a split second. Jerky's going to bring everybody back, though, because the Life Cocoon was in hand. He gets taken out. It's only going to be 2, however. And Team Peps actually able to take over the objective. Pink's found and fought off a few more. Navi gets staggered out. What a crazy fight from Frankie Boxing.
Okay, helped by 6. We have to give props where it's due. That was Rage of Ultron connecting at the same time as the Angela Spear damage, which is how Navi just absolutely disappeared in a puff of smoke. Brought back, like you said, by the Karmic Revival, but without Invisible Boundary or Soul Resurgence to be able to stabilize their position on the point. So now it flips to the side of Team Peps, and they can just go aggressive if they so choose, right? They've got the Raging Roll flush. They're going to be able to take a first turn, potentially force out the Invisible Boundary from Navi, but first they open up with the Torch ultimate instead. There's nothing to absorb it outside of the Invisible Boundary. It just slows everything down. Terra using the Dance of the Butterflies to make sure that Peps can't make a play off of the space that Pink has created for them, and Fate finally gets to use the Invisible Boundary. But look at what Peps are doing, holding on to both the Raging Roll Flush and the Meteor M, which will get interfered with by Rajaro's body block, but there's no eliminations from Navi's end, and Peps are still in full control.
Yeah, it's a lot of ultimates have been traded out, so I am looking at Rajaro switching away from the Captain America. He's going to have his own Heaven's Retribution. Terra's even actually switched away to go onto the Star-Lord away from the Psylocke. Rajaro is so close to having an ultimate as we're watching Terra try to catch up with his European teammates. Just that he's able to get Frankie Boxing as he was trying to come in through the fly-through. 88% on having a Rage of Ultron. He did so much, and after the Raging Royal Flush, it's going to be enough, actually. Crook gets taken down. This triple strategist backline of Navi is completely splintered. Team Peps hold off on this fight, and they still have a Rage of Ultron in the back pocket for when they need.
I mean, they can just go with it first as well. Like, if you wait too long, Jerky will be able to build up to that Karmic Revival. I think they're being very cautious if they hold too close of Rajara using the Heaven's Retribution and just collapsing onto the team, allowing level 1 Crook to push Navi overhead with the Soul Resurgence. As Terra on the Star-Lord, like we said, closes up the distance, tries to put the pressure, not this time onto the Flyers, but onto the backline instead. There's the Rage of Ultron. Crook will allow Navi to stabilize through with the Soul Resurgence. Rajara still holding on to the Heaven's Retribution. This might be the way that Navi are able to turn the fight, but they've also been able to splinter Team Peps' coordination away, both with the pressure from the Angela alone and the potential damage boosts.
Ooh, Protoss finds a nice pick there, and you've got Jerky that's 99%. He's come back with the Life Cocoon, able to bring back people on the objective, even though it's still in control of Team Peps. Invisible Boundary for Fate still building. Jerky finds himself a couple more as Terra is very close to a Galactic Legend. He gets an elimination just beforehand, and they've managed to find themselves some space. Peps not wanting to over-dedicate anymore. They don't have anything else to dedicate, to be honest, but they can build up a Royal Flush as it's hit 99%.
I mean, they're one fight away, essentially, from getting this round. Jerky, no way does he manage to build up another Karmic Revival. So really, you're looking at Terra with this Galactic Legend, which is exactly what IMLK will be looking at. The Star-Lord Ultimate with the Meteor M, so that Protoss can hold the Soul Resurgence and try to have the sustainability to match Fate's Invisible Boundary. As level 1 Croak is going eerily low, Terra opens up the fight. So far, Peps actually not going for the Meteor M, instead trying to heal through it with the Soul Resurgence, but 6 is just not within distance or space to receive the sustain and falls. Heaven's Retribution lands onto Team Peps' whole backline, and Baby Bat gets cleared when he's isolated. Great play from Terra to jump onto the Gambit.
It's stalling Baby Bat more, so it's now 66% to having that Royal Flush now. IMLK stalling for a little bit in this position, but is somebody going to be able to actually go for a pot play? 6 can. He has had to give up the ultimate, though. He's 55% over on the Ivagamoto. Heaven's Retribution is going to be used on the other side, as well as the Inferno landing down from above from Pink. Crook finds the elimination onto Frankie Boxing, however. An Invisible Boundary is going to give Navi something to at least play around now that it's reached 99%. 99%. Everybody is dropping like flies. Terra switching over to the Star-Lord has done so much to actually confirm these eliminations. And a Banhammer held on to for quite some time for Trust Me, now deciding to pull it out now. Meteor M forced out from IMLK. Could have taken that into the second point if they felt that Team Peps were going to have to give this one up. But they're still using these ultimates as they're being built. Very close, again, to a Spider-Man flying back from Pink, but also an Aya Bagamoto, as portals are going to come out on both sides. Jerky switching over, not going to matter too much. Team Peps giving it a good go on this first point, but Navi finding the gear shift and take first.
Yeah, it feels like the secrets of being able to make this flyer composition work, especially with the Torch Ultron, is the Star-Lord ban. It does have to be removed from play. It is your most consistent and hardest counter. So I imagine if Peps lose this round and take us to convergence to try to make this composition play, yet again, we will see Peter Quill on the ban table. As now that Terra actually has that Galactic Legend too, like, this is problematic for Peps to have to deal with. Ideally, you're looking at just kiting out Galactic Legend, but you're missing Loki for the regeneration domain to give you the space to do so. So the task instead falls to Frankie Boxing on the Angela to directly body block it instead.
Fight a common enemy.
Lots to worry about. Even Jerky's actually going to switch over towards the Ultron himself. I think it'd be nice to see if you can't beat them, join them, as it seems that Peps is still committing to the strategy and playing off of it.
I mean, Crook also was potentially on that rocket to give Terra extra mobility with the team up, but swaps back to the Mantis to be able to have that damage boost to match what Protoss is allowing Pink to output.
I wonder how quickly we'll see this Galactic Legend, because surely Navi got a good clock in that Peps used all of the ultimates that they had available, and if they built any up, they were going to use it straight away. So here's the Galactic Legend right onto the diving point immediately off of what Trust Me was doing space-wise. Terra cleans up 5 players as IMLK has to sort of give up this position. It was perfectly read from Navi, and whilst it was a rough start on that first point, Moxie, they made the right adjustments, both for obviously the Star-Lord, but Rajaro and the Angela.
And Peps, they're off the torch. Like, they knew walking into retake, yeah, there's no way you're going to be able to get that torch back into a position of power without getting first cleared by the Star-Lord. So Pink goes on to Peter Quill to be able to match with the mobility, and we literally basically get an even mirror, except the Invisible Woman being the outlier between the Gambit and the Deadpool Vanguard being the outlier between that mag. And them missing the mag actually is really problematic for Pink to have to deal with, since you don't have the bulwarks to be able to go in aggressively, as we actually get to see. Yeah, there we go. Banhammer onto the Star-Lord before you can bolt up that Galactic Legend. 6 opening the way with the Rage of Ultron, and Navi just disengaging with the cover of their own.
Yeah, being able to trade out the Rages of Ultrons on either side, as Trust Me now giving up some of the space in this play. And IMLK trying to wrap around with the rest of his team on this high ground, seeing if he can deal with Terra with this drone on him is such a pest. 6 goes down. Galactic Legend is going to be used from Pink, however. Able to get one. It is going to force out Trust Me to use some of that sustenance, but it's not going to be enough. Pink actually finds so much. The switch is a good one. Whilst Navi make it to 60%, Peps find their own change up, and it works wonders.
Oh, they get to hold the Raging Road Flush as well on the side of Baby Bat. Like, Pink does it with just Galactic Legend alone. So now Fate's hands are tied, essentially, for having to hold Invisible Boundary against the Gambit Ultimate, which means you have to get yourself onto point to be able to use it and still potentially win the fight. Gorgeous spear coming over from Rajaro, displacing Frankie Boxing. And trust me, in the meantime, he's a one-man army, clearing up the high ground and taking on the triple strategist line solo.
Yeah, it's just the picks in the neutral. It seems that Navi might have to use a little bit more to buy out the time, but it's seeming like it's going to be Navi actually able to take this point. Often using 0 ultimates, just off of the well-played element of Rajaro going in for that pull, and Frankie Bonksy being taken out as the first elimination in that fight.
I mean, Terra with this Galactic Legend too. Like, Team Peps, you're relying on Meteor M being able to absorb it. Potentially, they could go for Heaven's Retribution as well to try and just shut down this position of Navi's high ground control, which is going to be so problematic for the Ultron to have to deal with. There's the Raging Road Flush, but it's not in time. Frankie Boxing is already down. Galactic Legend comes on through from Terra. IMLK trying to absorb the majority of it with the Meteor M, but that will be broken. And the task falls to 6 to take Terra out of the skies instead. Jerky's just as apt, though, with the mechanics. Takes to the high ground and clears out the high skies.
Holy, Jerky is hitting all of those shots. It feels like a Trust Me, it's a spam down approach. Still waiting for the cooldown on the Banhammer. Invisible Boundary is going to allow this fight to go a little bit more, as it has reached 99%. Stick hits some really sick shots, but he has to go over towards Doctor Strange for the portal. Can't quite make it in time. Navi winning out on domination 2-0. But Peps, there are some moments that make you think, okay, this team just needs a little bit more time in the oven. Mechanically, they're sound, but it's now these fast fire adjustments that have made the difference.
I smell convergence, and I smell a Star-Lord save on the side of Navi if it isn't a ban on the side of Peps. Because, like, honestly, if Peps had been able to slot a Star-Lord ban into that ban draft somewhere, like, really, potentially, Navi would be up the creek without a Star-Lord to paddle them back into the correct waters against that Torch Ultron composition.
Final hits 18 for Terra, and I think there's 21 total for all of Team Pep. So it's a little bit of a deadlift, I suppose, in that performance, but it was set up for success. It's easy for Terra to look that good when you have Jerky filling in the gaps of playing stuff like the Adam and also the Ultron. Knowing that Navi can also play this composition and get a bit more experience against it is going to feel better. They made the right adjustments and choices. And it's the fact that Peps were able to sort of make those adjustments too. It's just that Navi were winning way too many fights in the neutral.
Yeah, I think if you swap the ban on the Venom and you just replace it with a ban on the Star-Lord, because, like, as we talked about, like, the Venom, yeah, that takes away the element of soft dive, but at the same time, there's so many Vanguards in the pool that are left behind that just allow you to do dive the same, as opposed to the Star-Lord, which is the direct counter to everything that your composition is trying to do.
Completely agree, and in inspiration of that, I have written you both a poem.
Ooh.
There's an Ultron in the sky. Terra flew twice as high. Inspire from Cook. Now, Peps aren't cooked, but the score is 1-0. Really solid performance from Peps, but they're starting to but we did see Navi react. I love the idea that potentially we will see a Star-Lord protect from Navi to deal with this in the future. We'll have to see if that is the case as we're going to head to a break, and when we come back, we'll see if Peps can bring it back versus Navi in map number 2.
I'm trying to help.
Lights out. Suffer in the darkness. Let's pop back up under their noses. Us against the world!
My time to shine.
NAVI pushed to the brink once again, but this time they adjusted and they held on. But that now means Peps get the map choice, and we for Theory Crafting, could they attempt to hit the trauma button and attempt to get NAVI back onto the Central Park? Looks like no, we've just seen that they are heading to the Museum of Contemplation, and that's brave.
That's a strange looking convergence map.
I wonder if you could still play it on this map, though. I mean, you've got ceilings, so probably not, but I almost respect the goal for Peps to be like, we can make this map work, because they had good moments against Heretics on Friday. It was just that Heretics are such an innate, talented roster. They kind of just win on the mechanics alone, and I think Navi would do the same here, despite there being some good mechanics on the side of Peps.
I mean, it's dive as well, right? It's going to be dive. We've seen Museum of Contemplation so many times, and so many times has it been around dive compositions, both on the defense and on the offense. So I feel like the Stellar Band probably not going to come through. It's probably best to keep going for that Venom, because it's going to be so disruptive when Navi have that defensive turn.
In the last series, though, the last map, we did see these teams both put a lot more focus onto Elsa compared to a lot of the teams who are just prioritizing Gambit first. Do you think we'll continue to see that as we head into map number 2?
I think, well, Navi just sort of leave it open. They've got putting almost too much stock in the Deadpool Vanguard with how today has gone, for example. So I don't really know. Peps should get it for free, but it's whether they can get a hold of the star load or get rid of it in the case of what we've been talking about.
I mean, the thing about like letting Gambit through, but one side getting Vanguard Deadpool, is that Vanguard Deadpool gets ult first, lobs Banhammer on the Gambit, and doesn't allow the team with one-sided Gambit to have one-sided Raging Roar Flush, which then derails the whole ultimate economy. Plus, like, Gambit, when you play Gambit in compositions, you fit him into those compositions and you have to make the space for it, right? Raging Roar Flush has to pair with something. So being able to derail the whole ultimate economy actually finds a whole lot of value. So I would expect that Navi will continue going for a ban on Vanguard Deadpool into a save on Vanguard Deadpool, or do they fear the Mantis so much that we see that occupy the ban slot instead? Now, is this a Mantis save, or is it going to be a continuation of the Vanguard Deadpool? Looks like it's going to be a Mantis save, so they're actually moving away from their normal ban formula.
What are you going to ban out here? I imagine in this case just the Gambit, so you get one-sided Gambit to play off, or are you going to try and move ahead in the process? Probably the next round, it's like this double ban that we see coming up for both teams is when Loki's thrown in the most. It is either Loki or Mantis.
Yeah, Loki or Mantis or Gambit, but I mean, there we go. That's the immediate chop down of the Vanguard Deadpool now that Navi aren't having that layer of protection in front of it. Gambit looks like it's going to be an instant decision made on the side of Team Peps, which does target out both the Loki as well as the Gambit itself, although Loki is still a problem for them to deal with. Not only is this going to be Loki Mantis, this is also going to be Loki Mantis Adam on Convoy, which does allow you to play a triple strategist line and stall on first, as Navi see that Peps have not yet targeted that Venom and will go for the save before it can be removed from play.
Is that...
no, it has to be Loki. It has to be Loki.
I saw the White Fox of it. I'm like, no. Yeah, it has to be Loki. You're right. So, like, it does leave the Jeff open as well, actually, for Navi. They've got to protect onto Venom, so they can also have that team up.
Yeah, but I mean, Loki's way more problematic. Loki, Mantis, Adam, that's full hold formula right there. But like you said, that does leave the Jeff open. Potentially Team Peps are going to try and route it with something like the Groot Walls interfering with the line of sight on the heals, so that if we do see Navi play this Venom, especially on the defense, and you're going for the soft dives to just like disrupt the backline and prevent them from taking any form of space, you don't have the Jeff healing the Venom from afar, as we get one one more ban coming in for on the end of Navi. Can't be Susan Storm, as that is Peps' last save, as they do see that Venom, know that there's going to be elements of dive, and prioritize a strategist who will be able to circumvent it, as it's going to be the Deadpool Vanguard, so no one is going to be able to have access to the ban hammer unless they decide to maybe put someone on another role, which, I mean, I say that, it sounds really weird. It's actually been happening for some teams in the different regions. The priority and value of that ultimate really does surpass the roles.
For sure. I mean, it really does feel like they can get so much out of it. But this last game on the Museum of Contemplation, at least for today, potentially, unless Peps can actually show up in a massive way, it has been glimmers of it. But we have also seen that from plenty of teams so far today. It's the likes of Navi, Heretics, and Virtus Pro typically just outpacing their opponents and lasting longer in these fights. But it is a Mantis versus like a one-sided, not Loki, it is a one-sided Gambit. So Gambit versus Mantis is interesting. It's whether it's going to be much of the triple strategists in play.
I mean, Terror is already on this Namor as well, so we already called that Jerky was going to be on the Atom. If they're playing on Domination, they're absolutely going to play it on Convoy if it's free and available, but that Namor should be able to keep a closer eye on things like the Daredevil if they decide to field it on the side of Peps. Looks like it's going to actually be 2 strangers, but keep your eye on Pink, because like we've got a Hulk on the field. That means fastball incoming from this Wolverine for Navi to have to think fast and deal with.
Think fast is certainly the play. Frankie boxing actually going really aggressive here. It's a great play up actually with Sick. Trust Me goes in for the counter dive and it gets the pick onto the baby bat like backline. So it is sort of trading out these fights in the end, but now they have to give up some space at the very least. Nice coordination from Frankie and Six to go for that elimination first.
Forces the self-res out of Cherokee already, which is actually huge, especially the closer he gets to that Karmic Revivalist. Peps are doing a very good job of trying to take a lot of space with just IMLK jumping with those incredible leaps on that Hulk, but Terror on this Namor, 65%, just getting to look at the Vanguards and just charge up the Trident again and again and again since the ammo is infinite.
They finding a couple more picks. And it's pretty much the hold right in front of the spawn doors that Peps has to try to break here. Haven't seen too much of the fastball actually make its way through, but it's more the fact that the strategists are building up these ultimates. Gambit.
Protoss? I mean, he was looking like they were going to use it. There we go. Everyone's lined up. Everyone gets it. Terra is actually in Blessing of the Deep at the moment, so not using Horn of Proteus to interrupt the movement of Peps forward, rushing like a wave towards Navi's defenses and overwhelming it.
It's a good fight in the end. We were just sort of waiting where the go button was going to be, but Peps making sure that everybody was lined up, ready to fight. You've got a last stand as well. It's going to be great at creating space. Navi not going to try to go in for the fight quickly here. They still have a lot of dive options and still building up towards the Karmic Revival, but Peps trying to hold a high line. See if they can take the attention away from where Pink is playing from, because that last stand could pull everybody right up the objective.
Well, Trust Me is already pulling the attention, allowing Navi to get through the choke without having to worry about Pink in the close quarters with that last stand. The Venom soft dive created the space, and the rest of Navi's team now get to find the eliminations. Venom diving yet again, disrupting the disengagement. Rogero at maximum charge is just going to be absolutely melting through those Vanguards. Gets the Diamond Form into the Carbon Crush, holds Frankie boxing aloft for level 1 Crook to bring them down. But Navi, they're still giving a lot of respect to what Peps can do. They don't want to overextend. They have to address the fact that, yes, Invisible Boundary can slow them down, and yes, Final Judgment can absolutely shred through both the sustainability of the Mantis or the Invisible Woman ults.
Posture check Moxie. There's about to be 12 ultimates in the server. One's being used already, and it's a combination of the Feast of the Abyss and the Horn of Proteus. Turret is going to come out from Six. Does have the Final Judgment. Has decided that he wants to go for the ability instead to see if Trust Me can be forced out a little bit more. But he's still able to get into the backline of Protoss. The only player from Team Peps that didn't have an ultimate was him, and I feel like everybody else was waiting for it to come online. Oh no, we see the Final Judgment being used and is immediately deleted. Oh, Navi just cut it down very quickly. Got the ultimate as well from Emma Frost that just silenced anything else that might follow up. Navi dealt with that very fast.
I mean, they had the Karmic Revival too. If their hand was forced, they don't even use it. They still have it available to weather the storm of a one-sided Raging Royal Flush, which Peps were able to utilize so efficiently last time, but not this time. As Pink is clearing up all of the spaces, they want to try and intercept Trust Me's run away. Since the Venom is so far away from the Adam's position, it's highly unlikely Karmic Revival is enough to bring him back. Jerky's just going to try to close up the distance. He actually runs to the other side of the map to pick up both Trust Me and all of the rest of Navi's fallen. Level 1 Crook with the Soul Resurgence, allowing Navi to come back into that fight, but walking directly into the invisible boundary to slow things down.
Oh, this is absolutely mayhem. I think just Museum of Contemplation is enough to just overstimulate me with how these fights are going. But Team Peps are just sort of used to it. They had to deal with it with Heretics before, and Ping now seems to be getting going with these picks, but it's overtime. Not really too much liberties to be taken on this attack. You just have to find those approaches, but Crook is found too. The spawn is really close. The checkpoint is an ebb away, but is there enough time to actually stall for the portal? Not looking likely, as Peps now have to fly in with the Angela, as Pink is the one to use it. They can't quite touch, and just before the first checkpoint, Moxie, Navi hold it down.
I mean, Navi, every time that Mantis is in meta, level 1 Crook is just someone that you really have to watch out for. Like, Trust Me's able to just hold the fort on the actual convoy itself. Meanwhile, level 1 Crook and Fate in the backline, frying everybody. Oh, there's a Hulk in front of me. Yes, incredible shots hit by the Mantis, not the melee character. So poor IMLK just has a very bad day.
It's just Team Peps picking this map too. I think it just feels like I'm like low-key time skipping, you know, from like the TVA of just like you switch. It's so discombobulating to follow along, but like those kind of fights have always suited Navi. They've always suited Heretics. And I admire Peps trying to like play in that style. But it was so much like there was that big play, 5 ultimates waiting for a Royal Flush. The Gamma gets taken out, 6 gets deleted as that final judgment comes in, and Navi still have a Gamma Revival to sit back on. That can't be allowed to happen.
Yeah, it's less Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., more Agents of Chaos for Navi's real way of play. And I mean, like, honestly, for them, that fight was 100% worth. Because you force Peps into burning so many ultimates. If you lose players to them, you've got the card that brings them all back with Karmic Revival, and your ultimate economy is in such a greater position, which is something that Team Peps now will have the opportunity of taking advantage of, given that Pink has moved over to the Adam Warlock. Navi, actually, despite taking us to Museum of Contemplation, a map which has a ceiling, are going to put Terra on the Ultron, Crook on the Mantis, and just look to stabilize their dive. Trust me, Jerky able to hit into the backline, try to take some of the space away, but Terra, there we go, finds one of Ultron's greatest counters, which is a ceiling fan.
That was the shortest campaign of playing Ultron I think we've ever seen. And you've got Jerky that was just on the solo duelist for Daredevil, which would have been a tall order for him to close some of this distance, because IMLK is just enjoying and reveling in the chaos that he's forming, able to get these like dives in. And Peps, just
all the space,
look at how they're playing. There's so much space. Everybody's playing so fast. And you can see, like, Trust Me, he's trying to find these targets to focus on. And with the help of Fate, able to achieve a couple of picks in the end.
Oh, the floodgates have opened. Chaos reigns supreme. Navi have just pushed Peps away and Rajaro. No, there's no way. He's setting up a portal at the moment to stop IMLK portaling Peps back onto this convoy.
He gets him!
Oh, there's no way he actually did.
He actually got him. He actually threw him off the map.
It's done. Peps are going to try and touch, but I mean, Navi, yeah, they're just not going to allow that to happen. Oh my goodness. Rajaro, take a bow. That's a Boga level of strange TP. If we've seen one since Schmungus played last. Oh.
I will do I'll do an ad read, I guess, to an extent, because it's like, if you wanted to see how that play looked, you can also go into game and watch the replay straight after this series to check it out yourself. It's a shame that we missed it with like everything that was going on, but you can also go and see how these guys are playing. And for Navi, it's just making the adjustments from yesterday against Shikigami with stuff like the Torch Ultron meta stuff, and using it against Peps, who on this map at the very least could not really show the same temperance, I suppose, that we saw against Heretics on Friday.
Oh, I mean, trust me, Jerky, they were like the main ones who were like Navi to break around. Like, we saw Terra try the Ultron, doesn't work, goes to the Psylocke, but in the meantime, the Venom, the Daredevil, diving onto Peps' backline, forcing them to have to turn around and deal with the peel, which then erodes away the space that they have to work with and allows Navi to just slip through the lane checks. All of the flanks, all of the angles get consumed by the attack, and Peps get split into these individual pockets of fights that they have to take, to the point that they lose their players, have to rely on a Strange Portal, no one's left to be able to put pressure onto Rajaro, and we get the Strange Portal that literally ends the match.
Literally ended the match with a portal trap. Beautifully executed. You literally just saw everyone from Team Peps just cheesing it for the objective the second that came out, because you have no other option. You've just got to try and rush the point. In this case, though, Navi positioned beautifully. They're able to take them down so quickly. Just nicely done there. And it seems that their little bugbear, we'll call it, they've probably been feeling like any device this year, because it seems like everyone's trying to force AI into it with Ultron appearing in so many of their games. But it seems like they've finally been able to stabilize themselves and deal with it 2 times in a row now.
Yeah, not overheat, I think, is the main thing. It's been such a weird day of games as like a recap as well, because it's like we've done 5 best of 3s in less than 5 hours. There have been so many like speedrun games that have happened, but like for Peps, you get the 2 horrible teams to deal with, like Thanos and I guess Ultron himself, out of the way first, so you can focus on qualifying for playoffs next week, and you take some good lessons here. And I don't think that anybody's looking at Peps and going like, this team is absolutely torrid, there's no chance. It's just they're being outpaced by teams that have higher accolades and more experience. Next week, you're definitely going to be in the muck and the mud of the others, and a chance of playoffs is doable.
There's a time to be doing it. It is now. Here in the preseason, there's time for adjustments, there's time for practice, there's time for working out new strategies and anything. And of course, there's going to be new patches. Of course, next week we have the White Fox patch coming in to make her even stronger. So there's a lot of flexibility available for teams like Peps to continue to evolve those strategies, Moxie.
Oh boy, White Fox, yeah, that buff, like, is there room in the draft to be able to slot in a White Fox ban? I really do not know, because, like, that's getting stronger, but nothing else is really getting all that weaker, is the problem. Yeah. So, it's just...
But we're going to be speaking to Jerky instead in a few moments.
Yeah, too many Avenger level threats. There's just too many. Like, you need intergalactic help. Call an overcall, because, yeah, you need some extra pair of hands to deal with it all.
I think at the moment, actually, it would be called the Thunderbolts, right? Or I guess the new Avengers.
New Avengers.
And then you got like potential young Avengers. You got too many, like, you need all of the variations of the Avengers across like Marvel's history to deal with everything that's in game right now. There's too much.
Well, what there isn't too much of is any amount of time with Jerky, because we will spend as much time with them as we can as they are ready for the interview. Jerky, as I said earlier, you had one little rougher start with the Ultron game versus Shikigami, and now other people keep trying to push it on you guys, but you reacted well this time. What have you changed since that matchup coming into this one?
I mean, Shikigami, props to them, you know, they found a comp that caught us off guard. They picked old-fashioned kind of comp, like a season 3.5 comp, and it caught us off guard. We didn't know what to do, and we took some time off, right, yesterday, today, and we were like, okay guys, how do we beat this comp, you know, how do we best that composition? And we found something out that worked, and I think we're way more comfortable against that now. So yeah, I think just some brewing in the background, and we got that figured out.
Were you expecting Peps to take you to Museum of Contemplation, especially after Convergence proved to be one of the problem points? Did it catch you by surprise that they would take you to a map which was so favored by the dive composition?
I mean, honestly, I don't really think it caught us off guard or anything. I think every team has their comfort maps, and sadly for them, it is quite a dive-heavy map, right? So they did pick their own poison, kind of. So, but yeah, I mean, any map, I think it works in our favor. I think any map would have been our comfort zone, so don't think they had a good choice there.
There was a post on social media, I think yesterday, that was very much in the lines of like, mom and dad are fighting again when it comes to Trust Me and Terra, like being on the team and like trying to deliberate and stuff. Like, how's it been with like Terra joining the squad? Because I guess a lot of people just assumed it would be those two butting heads, but knowing you guys a little bit more personally, you do have your opinions, but you also are just like a very free and open team to express them and then actually work it out, right? It feels like it's not just those two that are going to be opinionated.
I mean, it happens. I think it's very normal in esports for teams to butt heads, right? Especially when it's the top of the top. But we've been working it out. You know, it happens in every team. It happens in every esports. We just have our talks. We figure it out, and we work on from there. Sure.
With that win, mathematically, you are now through to the playoffs, as you cannot drop below 4th seed in the group at minimum. But you still, coming up next week, have Pulsar and Heretic. So my question is your focus going to be on them or the playoffs heading into next week?
Well, right now, because we're a very competitive team, right? Very competitive players. I think we want to best every single team and show that we are dominating this EMEA region, right? So I think we'll take it one step at a time, right? I'm not sure who comes first, Heretics or Pulsar, but we'll focus on the first team that comes, and we want to beat them in a dominant fashion, you know, and then we'll focus on the playoffs. So it's definitely one step at a time. Yeah.
And my last question to you here is, we had Lime Pro on earlier today, who decided to do a little bit of merchandising for his team, and people can also support you guys by grabbing your Deadpool bundle in-game. So what would you say to the audience out there who are looking to potentially pick up that Navi bundle but have not pulled the trigger yet?
I mean, the Navi bundle, it's pretty cool, and I think what a funny or, you know, kind of a joke you can make. The BTW, right, on our shirt stands for Born to Win, but some people interpret it as by the way, so I think you can use that as a funny joke with your friends, funny joke with your teammates, you know. But I mean, the Navi bundle, come on, nice match of colors, nice match of a team, right? You have the best EU team on there, so pick who you want to support most. I'll appreciate if it's us.
Thank you very much, Jerky. We'll let you go, get ready to focus on next week's games, and congratulations on yet another win.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.